Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have a drink and I'm going to answer the question, would you want to live forever? Seems like an easy question to answer, doesn't it? Did not realize that was carbonated, and now I have to wash this shirt. Life. It's the flutter of wings. But, yeah. On the one hand, I am trying to live forever. I am a writer. I write things. And theoretically, so long as the internet is around, I will live forever because my writing will always be on the internet. And further along those lines, it's like the thing about the whole drinking during the video is that I have alcohol that I need to use up. And I have things like this. I purchased this for a review some time ago. I don't want to turn that over because I might spill it further, but this is probably outdated. Here we go. No, it's not. It's not outdated. Yes, it is. Month and a year, to be exact. 1 month and 1 year outdated. So one of the things about my life is that, at a certain point I decided to become a food blogger. And I got a lot of food that I blog about. And you go, okay, well, but you got to blog about things fairly often, so I wind up with, a bunch of cans. Well, I didn't really like that, so what do I do with it now? And one of the things I've chosen to do with that is to make videos like this, where I, there's a lot of ambient noise today, where I use up things that I have and I talk about varying topics. And if you did turn around and you said, well, you're going to live forever. Okay? Imagine a world where every book you're going to read, you can read because you're going to live forever. You want to learn an instrument? Sure, dude, you're going to live forever. You can learn an instrument. You want to learn another language? Sure, dude, you can do that because you're going to live forever. There's no limit to what you can do because you always have the time. At some point, the thing about life is it's having the time to do it. So, no matter what it is I would like to do in my life, if I were going to live forever, I would be able to do that thing. Because if I'm physically going to be here, almost everything in life is a matter of time. Now, this does not apply for things like being an Olympic pole vaulter. I've got the dong for it, obviously, if you saw the last Olympics, but that's just not how it works. I could never become an Olympic pole vaulter. But that's the one thing that the upsides to living forever are things we all want. I want to leave a legacy, and therefore, in a certain way, I will live as long as the human race. I would want to live forever if it meant that I could, survive well. But it's like one of the fitness enthusiasts I follow just did a video where he said, doctor said that my shoulder is busted, and I'm going to have it replaced, and that means I'm never going to be able to do pull-ups again. And pull-ups are a big part of his workout. So, yeah, I mean, this is a big thing to him. Dude competes in a lot of senior athlete situations, so that's one of those things you have to ask yourself. Do you want to live forever? Well, I mean, if it means I age normally, then no. Because just being alive doesn't mean having a good life. I mean, if you were going to say, well, you could live forever, you'd be 35 for the rest of your life, or you live forever, but, your stem cells are always functional. Plastic surgery will likely get better in the future, and when it gets better in the future, you should be able to remove the signs of aging a little better. But, it's one of those things. And then there are even larger questions like, what happens at the end of the universe? Because the universe may be finite. It's one of those things, is like there's this one story about, they asked this computer, can you prevent the end of the universe? And the computer, it gives an answer, and then, like a millennia later, can you prevent the end of the universe? And, the computer gives a better answer because it's more advanced now. And then it's like at the final time, the computer has been thinking about it forever, and the universe is ended, but it's a quantum construction that exists outside of time and space. So it is infinite. And, it says, okay, I can prevent the end of the universe, but the universe is ended. Sorry about that. So the computer says, I can prevent the end of the universe, but the universe is ended. So it uses that knowledge to create a new universe. But then there's below that, there's the Earth isn't going to live forever. Eventually the sun is actually going to expend its fuel, and it's going to expand to include the Earth. So the Earth will eventually the sun will eventually expand and swallow the Earth. And when that happens, humanity will likely be living on Mars, okay? And, there's a perfectly good universe out there, but the question is, will we invent interstellar travel? And if we do invent interstellar travel, will we be able to save the human race? And these are questions that you or I would never have to answer because, it's human beings may very well be long extinct before the sun eats the Earth. But, if you were going to live forever, these are suddenly questions that, boggle the mind. And, I think it's some tech geek of some kind. It might have been Elon Musk, or it might have been a physicist who said the first person to live forever is currently alive. And, that's a wonderful thought because it means you might have a chance to be that person who lives forever. But it's like, in that one Harry Potter movie, or I don't know if Harry Potter wasn't in the movie, so I guess it would be a Rowling's movie or a Wizarding Universe movie. You had Nicholas Flamel, who had discovered the secret to immortality. And it's like he was so weak at that point he couldn't lift a book. And, on the one hand, this is a man who could live forever, and on the other hand, you know, what was the quality and point of his life? One of those things we do with a lot of our speculative fiction is that we say, what happens if you live forever? You watch everyone you care about die. Well, I have to admit that no matter how many deaths you see, it will probably still affect you in some way. I would say that the most painful thing that ever happened to me was my mother's death. It was the first major person in my life who passed away. I was 10 years old. I mean, I had a grandfather pass away, but I hardly knew the man. In fact, I believe both my grandfathers and one of my grandmothers was dead at that point. But I hardly knew them. But my mother was, an everyday part of my life, and she died. And, really changed my life. Okay? I remember I had a dog that passed away, and I cried and I cried. Here it is, I was a grown man at the time, and it was very painful. And the next dog that died was not as painful, even though it was like 6 months later. Excuse me. What are you doing? So, I think as a human being, I could eventually learn to live with and deal with grief. Grief is not a thing I worry about. But it's the senility of aging that one questions. Personally speaking, I could never be so attached to another human being again that their death would mean the destruction of me. I could never, if everyone in my life, everyone I cared about, if the entire world died and I was the only living person, that would suck. But if everyone I knew died, and then, I just had to make new friends, but I was going to live forever, I think I could deal with that, honestly. It's, in eventuality, they will eventually die, and, be completely honest with you, my life has never been terribly happy, all right? But one of the things that I do say to myself often is, you've got so much you want to do, you need to get doing it, and that's just one of those rather existential points. Like I say, I am sitting in a room full of books, and if I were going to live forever, I could read a page a day, and I would still eventually get there. I could read every book, and that's what I want to do. I want to read every book, but it's like I've got so many things in my life. I've got the situations I refer to as the lug, which, it comes from the fact that an uncle I had who passed away refers to the part of the drill that holds the bit as the lug, But it's like with this channel, I make my blog posts from Richard Reviews Everything into video shorts. And, at the moment I'm working on video shorts that are almost 10 years old. And, yeah, the lug is that I'm doing 3 of these a day. And I'm lugging around this huge amount of work to do, And if I sat there maybe for an entire month and did almost nothing but convert these blog posts into video shorts, I would probably at that point have finished the lug, and then every morning, it's like, okay, I'm going to make a video short today. I've only got one to do or two to do because I did two videos, or I did two reviews yesterday. So that's the lug. And it's like, yes, well, you've got that lug. Then you've got the video shorts you're going to make for Random Street Theater, the blog. Okay, so, and there's thousands of them. And then you've got the video shorts you're going to make for Letters to Cassie and Other Folks, the blog. And, they appear on the YouTube channel. So that's the lug. And then finally, you have the video shorts you're going to make on Richard's Daily Quote. So altogether, you've got like 20 years worth of these things. If you do just as a simple comparison, maybe I have, all told, it could be 10,000 video short. Well, all told across all channels, the conversion of blog posts to YouTube shorts, I believe, is far more than 10,000. Okay. I calculated at some point that I needed to do 20 of these things a day for 500 days to get it all done. And even then, I calculated that I would not get it all done. I would just get a vast majority of it done, and that vast majority would translate into being able to slow down somewhat. But then, one of the things I have to point out is that I have 6 YouTube channels, and on this one I post 3 shorts a day. If I post 3 shorts a day across all of my YouTube channels, 6 times 3, 18. So the slowdown is 18 a day, assuming that's what I want to do, which, I have to admit, once I get to the point where I've converted all of my YouTube shorts into, all of my blog posts into YouTube shorts, I'm not going to produce 18 a day to keep up the numbers. So that's not going to happen. I realize I have now gotten off topic. And that's not good. There is also now construction across the street, so I need to sum this up here. Oh, how do I sum this up? Well, look. I would like to live forever in spirit, meaning that my work and my legacy lives forever. I would not mind living forever if it meant that I would not physically age, but I had immortality in terms of being able to maintain myself infinitely. I would not want to live forever if I lived forever but aged like a normal human being and eventually got to the point where I was completely senile and the person I am was lost, but the spirit of that person was no more. Anyway, thank you for sharing this moment with me. I'm Richard. Hey, Astro, did you hear about the restaurant on the moon? Yeah, Nance, I heard the food was good, but it had no atmosphere. Now that was a corny joke, but you know what isn't a joke? A clean environment. And this channel will buy one of these bracelets I'm holding from 4Ocean for every 1,000 subscribers it gets. So you should comment, like, and subscribe. Support us so we can support a better world.